You've probably heard that if you want to build wealth, you have to skip all the lattes and never buy new cars. But what if you don't like being frugal? What if you want to be able to drink your lattes, buy the new cars, take the nice vacations? Does that mean that you're destined to always be bad at money and not be able to build wealth? No. You absolutely can build wealth without being frugal. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. Hi, I'm Scarlett Cochran. I'm a lawyer and a wealth coach, and this is One Big Happy Life, where we help you find balance, build wealth, and live happy. Everything that you need to create the life that you want. Today, we are talking about building wealth when you like nice things. And this topic is near and dear to my heart because I am a person who likes nice things. I've always had a vision for my life back when I was a single teen mom living under the poverty line of the kind of life that I wanted to have, the kind of experiences that I wanted to have, the kind of life that I wanted to provide for my child. I knew that I wanted to be able to do things like travel, see the world, take her to shows, experiences that I did not have as a child. And I wanted to be able to have my own experiences. I knew that I loved home ownership. I knew I had a vision for what my dream house would look like. I knew that I wanted to be able to buy my daughter a car. I wanted to be able to put her through college. And all of those experiences cost money. And I also knew that I wanted to be able to have that full life filled with experiences while also building wealth so that I could not only provide for myself financially when I was ready to stop working, but also leave a legacy for my children so that we could build intergenerational wealth. And I know that there can seem like there's this conflict between spending for the life that you want right now, especially when you want things that cost a lot of money while also being able to build wealth for your best financial future. And if you look at a lot of the financial information out there, so much of it is based on cutting spending, cutting expenses, spending the least, always looking for ways to save money. And so it may feel like you have to choose between spending on those things that you really want to have and saving for the future. Now, before we dive in, I want to invite you to a live money training that I'm doing later this week called Master Your Money: How to Build Wealth While Spending Guilt-Free on a Life That You Love Today. In that masterclass, I'm going to be going even deeper on the topics that we're going to be discussing in today's video. So make sure that you head on over and save your seat at onebighappylife.com/money class because you're not going to want to miss it. I'm really excited about this live training because I'm going to be teaching brand new financial concepts that I've never taught anywhere before. And I'm going to be doing a live Q&A at the end. So you'll have the opportunity to ask me questions and get them answered live right during the masterclass. So head on over to onebighappylife.com/money class, save your seat, join me live. We're going to have so much fun. All right, now let's talk about building wealth when you like nice things. And first things first, what does it take to build wealth? Well, if we simplify this, we break it down to its most simple components, you need two things to build wealth. You need to spend less than you earn, and you need to invest some of your money so that it will grow into wealth over time. So you only need to do those two things: spend less than you earn, and then invest the difference so that it will grow. There's nothing in that definition that says that you have to be frugal. You can't spend your money on nice things in order to build wealth. All that's required is that you have a gap. So the next question is, well, how do you spend your money? What is it okay for you to spend your money on? And too often the conversation is, well, it's not okay for you to spend money. You got to spend the least amount possible. You always have to look for ways to save. And that's the only way to make sure that you're going to be able to hit all of your financial goals. But that's not true at all. In fact, all you have to do is make sure that you're putting enough money away to hit your big future financial goals so that your wealth is growing at the pace that it needs to support you when you're ready to start relying on it. We teach this concept inside of Wealth Builders Society, our personal finance program, and it's called the minimum savings rate. And the basic premise is once you're hitting your minimum savings rate, then you can do whatever you want with the rest of your money because you know that your financial future is taken care of. So what do you want to do with the rest of your money? It's okay to have a vision for your life that includes things that cost more. You can hold both that vision of a pricier life that includes those nice things that you feel called to have in your life. You can hold that and also still build wealth along the way. And that's actually the first step to being able to build wealth while also being able to have the nice things that you want. You have to set that vision for that life that you want, which is exactly what I did when I was a teen mom. I wasn't making a lot of money at the time. I knew that it was going to take me time to get there. But if I did not set that as that ultimate goalpost, if I didn't have that vision, then that wouldn't have allowed me to take the actions that I needed to take to get to the place where I could both spend for the life that I want while also making sure that I'm taking care of my financial future because I'm also investing some of my money. So the first thing you have to do is give yourself permission to say yes to the life that you actually want. That doesn't mean that you're going to go out right now and start spending and buying all the things. It means that you are accepting that there's a vision for your life that you have. You're accepting that it's okay for you to want those things. And you're accepting that you want to be the person that shows up in your life and in your finances and with your financial decisions in a way that will make that reality that you want to have possible for you over time. So when you give yourself permission to say yes, you allow yourself to step into a place where you can start figuring out how to make things possible for you. So how can you have the things that you want while also taking care of the things that you need to do so that you can have the life that you want in the future, which is the building wealth part of things. And it starts by not telling yourself you can't afford it. Because when you tell yourself that you can't afford it, or you don't deserve to have it, or it's not okay for me to spend money in this way, or what will other people think if I buy this or that thing, what that does is it stops you in your tracks. It stops your brain from doing the work that it needs to do to figure out how it can be possible for you. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. So back when I was 19, pregnant with my daughter Alexis and a single teen mom living under the poverty line, I was working full time as a active duty U.S. Marine, but we actually didn't get paid that much. And I was lower ranking enlisted, so also didn't get paid that much. So I was living in an apartment and I realized that I just really didn't enjoy apartment life. I really didn't like it. I really wanted to own my own house. And when I would tell people about it, they would say, well, how could you possibly, you can't afford that. You know, you're a Lance Corporal. I was an E3 in the Marine Corps at the time. You're a Lance Corporal. Lance Corporals don't buy houses, certainly not single teen moms. And so in their mind, I couldn't afford it. It wasn't possible. And if I had listened to them, that would have been it. I would have still stayed in the 1-bedroom apartment that I was living in, and that would have been it. End of story. But what did I do? I didn't believe them. I'm like, well, I don't understand why. Just telling me that I can't is not a reason. Like, you've got to explain it to me. And they couldn't explain it to me. So I decided to look into it and try to figure out, okay, well, what exactly does it take to buy a house? What do I need to do to make this happen for me? And after doing my own research into how I could afford it, how I could make it possible for me, I actually ended up buying my first house just 4 months after my daughter was born. So right after my 20th birthday, I closed on my very first house. It was a small house. It was a 2-bedroom townhouse. It wasn't my big dream house, but it was a step in the right direction. And the point is that I was able to afford a house. It's just that all the people around me had told themselves, they had stories about what they could and couldn't afford. And so because they had stories about what they could and could not afford, they projected those stories onto me. And had I believed those stories, my brain would not have done the work that it needed to do to figure out how to make it possible for me. That is why the first step to building wealth when you like nice things is to give yourself permission. Say yes to yourself. Say to yourself, I can have these things. Remove, I can't afford it from your vocabulary. If you need to, you can replace it with this is not a financial priority for me right now. I'm going to put that on the back burner, but never tell yourself that you can't afford a thing. In fact, this is my second tip for you. I want you to do something that I call practicing possibilities. Anytime you see something where you think your immediate gut reaction is, I can't afford it, I can never do that, I want you to practice possibilities. I want you to sit down and actually come up with ways that it could happen for you. So what would your life need to look like in order for this to happen? How much money would you need to have in order for this to happen? And I don't want you to, don't go to the extremes with it. Don't do things like, oh, again, perfect example, what would it take for me to be willing to pay round trip first class flights to Australia for my family for a vacation? And I think those flights are something like $15,000 a person. So that would be like $60,000 just on flights. What would my finances have to look like? What would your life need to look like? What would your finances need to look like in order for that to happen for you? And it could just be something as simple as, well, that is something that is an experience that I want to have above all experiences. So it could include something like, I value that more than I value owning a house. So I would rather live in an apartment and be able to spend $60K on a lavish vacation once a year, because that's the thing that matters to me. That's a possibility. You could also set the possibility to say, well, over the next 2 or 3 years, I want to be able to advance in my career. And I see 2, 3 promotions, or if I change jobs 2 or 3 times, I could add an extra 50, 60, 100K to my family income. And that could be the money that we use to take that trip in another 2 or 3 years from now. So saying yes to yourself doesn't mean saying that it has to happen right in this moment. It's saying, yes, I want this. Yes, I'm going to put this on my bucket list, and I'm going to do what I need to do to work towards this. I'm not going to let it fall to the wayside. I'm not going to let it be a wouldn't it be nice. It's something that I'm going to keep as a priority as I'm making my financial decisions and as I'm making my life decisions. Because the thing that's really important to understand is that your financial picture, it evolves over time. It's not a static thing that looks the exact same way. And in fact, if you're making solid financial decisions, if you're following a solid financial plan and strategy, then you'll see that what you're capable of doing with your finances over time, that will increase. And so that's how you're able to fit in more and more of those nice things that you want to have in your life over time without compromising your ability to build wealth. So you have to take the time to really think about what the life that you want, what it looks like, what it feels like, and how much it costs. And this is not something that goes away. It's something where you're going to be constantly evaluating what you want and what you don't want, because it can change from year to year or even month to month. There are so many people who their vision of what they wanted for their lives has changed dramatically because of 2020. In fact, I read a statistic the other day that up to 40% of Americans are willing to quit their jobs if their bosses force them to come back into the office, because they've realized that they love working at home, that they're just as effective, if not more effective, working from home, that they're able to manage their lives so much better, and that their work-life balance is better. So they're like, why would I go back to the office? And, I'm right there with you, because entrepreneur, working from home, I absolutely love it. And so my point is, though, that as you experience life, your vision for what your best life looks like will change over time. And you want to make sure that you stay open and receptive to that. And the other really important benefit of making sure that you are considering what you want your life to look like, your whole life, is that you don't let the building wealth part fall to the wayside, because you're looking at your life and your finances holistically. You're looking at what things look like right now. You're looking at how quickly things can change in 3 to 5 years, which for the record is dramatically, but you're also looking at what the things that you're doing right now, the impact that's having on the things that you want to do 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the line. And so then that is what allows you to find that right balance between building wealth and spending for the life that you want to have along the way. The last thing that I want to touch on is, well, what do you do if you're not at a stage in your finances where you can both have the things that you want to have, spend on those nice things, and still be able to have that gap so that you have money left over to invest and build wealth? Now, I said earlier that your financial picture evolves over time, and it does. But the thing that you have to keep in mind is you can't spend what you don't make. So at the end of the day, if you're a person who likes nice things, if you want to be able to say yes to yourself more, then the big thing that you really do need to pay attention to as your number one is, how much money are you making? Are you in a career? Are you in a job? Are you working for an employer that is paying you a salary that supports the lifestyle that you truly want to live? And if that answer is no, then you've got to start asking yourself some questions about, well, what do I need to change in order to be able to still do work that I love, have the work-life balance that I want to have, work in the field that I want to be able to work in, and also be able to have the lifestyle that I want? And then the next thing that you have to look at is, what's going on with your finances right now? Where are you spending in areas that don't actually bring you joy? Pull away from those areas so that you have more to spend on the things that truly matter to you. If you follow these principles, over time, you will find that you will be able to say yes to yourself more and more and more. You'll be able to fit in more of the things that you really want to have in your life. And that starts right now with the actions that you're taking in your life right now, which is why it's so important that you join me for this live money training, Master Your Money, later on this week. So head on over to onebighappylife.com/money class, save your seat, and join me live and start taking action and going even deeper on how to build wealth when you like nice things. All right, I will see you live later this week. Bye.